Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm back again to talk about Commander. Doing something a little bit different this time. I've managed to find complete lists for the two new Commander decks that are coming out from Dominaria United. I will learn to say that right at some stage. And I thought it'd be quite nice just to give my take on them. I put a tweet out earlier in this week about which one I thought was my favourite one. Which is out there somewhere, and people didn't really pay much attention to it, so I thought, well, I'll do a YouTube video then and see if anyone pays any attention to that. So, we're going to have a look at both the decks. I'm going to start with one of them. Probably not the one you think I'm going to start with if you've ever followed me on stream, but we're going to go with this one first and just have a quick chat about it. So, while I just flick over to the other one, I'm going to start with Legends Legacy. I've pulled these deck lists off MTG Goldfish, so I'll link it in the description down below. But this one is slightly more forgiving if you're a new Commander player and you're just getting into the format with this new set. The reason is it's 3 colours, and you get a couple of the key cards in this one that you may not get elsewhere. So you've got Signet Ring, you've got Soul Ring, you've got Fellwell Stone. It's worth picking up just for those, if nothing else. And the land base is pretty good as well. You've got sort of Battlefield Forge, Caves of Kolos, your Command Tower, a few other bits and pieces that make it worthwhile picking up. And it's a little bit more straightforward. Basically, what you want to do with this deck, using the Commander, which I'll come to in a minute, is just get legendary creatures into play and then smack people around with them. There's a couple of cards I've picked out. There's some older cards in here, some of them you've seen in decks before on my video channel. Some of them you may not have seen before, but yeah, they're here at the moment, and we'll just go through the ones that I've picked out. I like this deck. It's not my favourite of the two, and I'll come to why, but that's personal preference on my point of view. But as I say, if you're just starting off in Commander, Legends Legacy is the one you want to be looking at. Purely because it is quite solid, and I can see it be quite difficult to beat. So, the Commander is a Planeswalker. This is only the second time, if memory serves correctly, that we've had Planeswalkers as commanders. Maybe the third time. I think it is the third time actually. But this one's quite nice. 1 red, white and black for a 5 loyalty Planeswalker. +2, up to 1 target legendary creature gains Vigilance, Lifelink and Indestructible until your next turn. -3, reveal the top 4 cards of your library, put any number of legendary cards from among them into your hand and the rest into the graveyard. Create a treasure token for each card put into your graveyard this way. So it gives you a little bit of ramp, which is really unusual in these 3 colours. And then -11, gain control of all non-land permanents until the end of turn. Untap them, they gain haste until the end of turn. So basically you nick everyone's creatures at some stage. You can get up to 11. And probably win the game at that stage, because basically you'll just go, I'm going to take all your creatures and I'm going to attack you with everything. Have fun trying to stop me. So if it's a commander, they're really good. I'm going with there because I don't know if it's male or female, so we'll go with there for Dire. The +2 is really nice. It makes one of the creatures you've probably already got in play a really fantastic blocker to save Dire until your next turn round. You go from 5 loyalty to 7 loyalty to 9 loyalty to 11 loyalty. So if you can keep Dida in play for 3 turns and protect it, you're going to get that -11 off 3 turns after you've played it in theory. And from my point of view, that's really quite strong. The backup commander for this deck is Shahida, Sleeper Scourge. A 2/4 human knight, menace. Other legendary creatures you control have menace. Which is quite a nice way of punching through all the blockers you may be up against. And whenever you play a legendary land or cast a legendary spell, you draw a card and lose a life. Life loss isn't great, but drawing the card for each creature you play that's legendary, and each land you play that's legendary, it's not a bad trade-off. There are a few ways in the deck you can get some life back if you need to. For example, Odric's in here, so you can give all your creatures first strike if someone's got first strike or flying, death touch, lifelink, haste, hexproof, indestructible, etc, etc, etc. Notice the little combo with Odric here and Dahida. If you push +2 it on a creature and you've got Odric in play, at the start of your combat, you're going to give every single thing in play indestructible and all the rest of it, which is lovely. Don't think, from my understanding, it will last until this. They just go for combat for the rest of the creatures. The one that had it keeps it until the end of until your next turn, but I think all the other ones just lose it at the end of turn. So I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure someone who's a rules judge will be able to correct me at some stage. So bear that in mind. But this is quite nice. It's not a bad little creature, especially if you like human knights. It's a really good knight commander if you want to split this deck apart at any time. Moving on from there, there's a couple of other cards I picked out from this deck. Coughlin, Soul Hoarder. This is a reprint from Magic Origins, but it's still quite a nice card to have. And whenever a permanent owned by another player is put into graveyard from the battlefield, you draw a card and lose a life. There's a lot of life lost in this deck, but you do draw the cards, and like I say, if you can get things out like Odric and anything else that gives you lifelink, you'll be fine with this deck. Just bear it in mind. But I just want to pick this one out. It's one of those cards that came out at Origins and everyone went, I'm not sure. Well, I've been playing on MTGO this week, over the last week or so. It started coming back again, so bear in mind, we'll be seeing more of it with a bit of luck. So there you go. Likewise, Bladewing Deathling Tyrus. Deathless Tyrant is a new dragon skeleton. 5 red and black for a 6/6 flyer with haste, and when it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, for each creature card in your graveyard, create a 2/2 zombie knight creature with a token with menace. If you've got a lot of creatures in your graveyard that have been killed off, or you've discarded, or you've sacrificed or something, this is going to produce you a nice army that's going to be very hard for your opponents to deal with. Bear it in mind, this is one of the cards, it's probably one of the weaker cards in the actual deck itself from my point of view. You could really take this out and build a really great commander deck around it. But, you know, it's in the deck, and it's worth pointing out it's one of the better ones, so there. Cadric Soul Kindler is also in the deck. It's a legendary dwarf wizard for 4 mana, well, 2 red and white for 4/3. And it said the legend rule doesn't apply to tokens you control. This is important. Whenever another non-token legendary permanent enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1. If you do, create a token that's a copy of it. That token gains haste, sacrifice at the beginning of your next end step. So basically, if you add 1 mana onto the casting cost of all your legends, you're going to get a token for a turn that can smack someone in the head with, you know, which you can then use to go and attack with and smack someone with, you know. Hello. It's worth it. Again, it's not a card that you'd probably see built around on its own. It might be, I may be wrong, but I was trying to think about this, and it kind of slips into the Winota deck to a certain extent from my point of view. I don't see it replacing Winota as the Boris commander of choice, but it's possible to build around it. I'm just not sure how I'll do it yet, but it's something I'll be thinking about, and I'll be probably doing, if this comes onto MTGO, which I'm hoping all these cards do, it'll be something you'll see coming up as a deck tech very soon. The last one I want to mention from this deck was Varric Warp Sengir. Flying Death Touch lifelink for a 2/2 for 1 white and black. And whenever you activate an ability that wasn't a mana ability, if life was paid to activate, you may pay that much life again and do it again, basically. I quite like the look of this. This is something I really do hope comes to MTGO. Again, how good is it in this deck? Not 100% sure with everything else that's going on. But I quite like it. And I think there's some tricky stuff you can do with this if you can get hold of it. One of the ones I'm going to have to really have a think about from the new sets. So again, if it comes to MTGO, I'll try and do a deck tech on it. If it doesn't come to MTGO, I might just try and build a deck on MTG Goldfish and put it up and try and build it in real life. And then try and play it one day when I'm with my streamers. We are doing the wonderful world of Spell Table. So keep your eye out for that. That's all going to be talked about by the end of this video. So overall, Legends Legacy is great. The mana base isn't bad. I'll keep it as it is. I might change, you know, if you've got more dual lands, I'll probably drop a few of the mountains, a couple of the plains. I am dubious about why we've got 6 plains, 4 mountains and 3 swamps when there's a lot of black mana symbols up here. I'd probably just even now swap a plains for a swamp and just go 5 and 5 if I was going to change it around. Or, you know, if you've got the way of looking at it, the mana base is always the most expensive thing in a commander deck. I think we all know that. I mean, there's 39 lands in here. It is probably worth swapping something around to get it a bit more logical from my point of view. I mean, they've got Terramorphic Expanse, they've got the temples in here, one of each of the 3. So we've got the Temple of Malice, Silence and Triumph, Smouldering Marsh. But if you've got, you know, Shocklands, Sacklands, drop them in, put them in if they're in the right colours. The other thing I'd probably look at doing is drop 1 land entirely, I'm not sure which one off the top of my head, and put a little bit more Signet or something in here. Not, I know we've got Arcane Signet, but one of the I don't know, Just trying to think of a decent ramp spell we could put in for real life. Chromatic something or other, something like that. Just put something in. You know, you've only got three sources of artifact ramp, and you do need them. Yes, you've got the monuments in here, which would reduce the cost of the creatures. I'm aware of that in Commander Sphere. But I think Chromatic Lantern, that's the one I was thinking I was looking for. Maybe that should be in here, just to be a little bit. I mean, Jarrod's Hourglass Pendant's in, that's a new card. Which literally do a little bit of treaty stuff. You know, if each player gets you an extra turn. That's not the one I thought it was, so I've just made a complete fool of myself in this video. There was one I thought that gave mana, but maybe it's not in here. Might be in the other deck we can talk about in a second. So we've got Hedron Archive. It just needs a little bit more ramp. I'll probably drop one of the lands and put in some sort of, like I say, Chromatics Lantern or something. I think Lantern's the one that changed all your lands and to be able to tap for mana of any colour off the top of my head, so it's probably worth trying to get that in here somewhere. Again, Circle of Loyalty's in here. It's nice from the creature pump point of view, but maybe Glorious Anthem if you want something else. Day of Destiny's quite good. People will say take Day of Destiny out, I know that, but with the amount of legends in this deck, being able to pump your legends up and give them +2/+2 is actually really worthwhile in this deck, so try not to take it out. The other card I just want to point out is Shiro Death Storehouse. I believe this is one of the more expensive cards that's kicking around at the moment in real life. I think, yeah, $23.33, so what, about 20 quid in the UK, if that prices are right. I know UK prices are different. But this is only the second time it's been. This is its second reprint ever from the original set. It was originally in the very first Kamigawa set, if I remember. Change version, check. Yes, Champions of Kamigawa. There we go. But it's one of those cards that is really good in Commander. Basically because it's got an ability, it gives your legendary creatures an ability we don't see much of now, which is Fear. And it's very difficult. It's not like Menace. Well, it's probably a predecessor to Menace. But Fear is basically you can't be blocked except by artifact creatures or black creatures. And it's really difficult for people to deal with that. Yes, people have the old artifact creature, but unless you're up against someone else playing black, you're going to be getting your legendary creature through. And it doesn't matter which one of the legendary creatures in the deck you put it on, because they're legendary, it will just make it through. So, that's Legends Legacy. To flick over to the other deck, it is Painbow. This is my personal favourite of the two decks. Now, I'm going to say here and now, I think Legends Legacy will be more consistent and it'll be better if you're a new player. Painbow for me is a deck that I'm going to build. I'll probably play it once when we do a spell table game, and then I'm going to break it down and build decks out of it. The reason for this is some of the legends that are coming in this deck have been a bit of a challenge to get hold of. They have not been easy to find, and I really want to build paper copies of some of the things that are in here, and there's a couple of cards in here that I think really need to have a deck built around them just to show off themselves. So, but we'll start with the Commander. The Commander is Jarrod Catherine. It's Planeswalker again, but it's Wooburg, so white, blue, black, red and green. For a 5 loyalty Planeswalker. A little bit different on his activated abilities. +1 gives you a 3/3 Cavu, that's all colours, which is nice. -3, so there's choose up to 2 target creatures. For each of them, put a number of +1/+1 counters on it equals the number of colours it is. At -6, return target multicoloured card from your graveyard to your hand. If that card was all colours, draw a card and create 2 treasure tokens. -6 isn't great, to be honest. I was hoping something a bit more spectacular if it was me. But the +1 and the -3 are okay. Yeah. First turn you get Jarrod in play, you +1, get a Cavu to protect it. Second turn, -3, you put 5 +1/+1 counters on that Cavu, and if you've got any of the other creatures kicking around, they get bigger as well with the +1/+1 counters. Is it good? Not convinced yet, but we'll see how it goes, and we'll see if it comes up on MTGO. Like I said, I haven't seen anything about releasing the Commander decks on MTGO, so we'll have to see if they come out. Hopefully they will do, since it's a 30th anniversary celebration year. So I'm hoping they have programmed them in, they're going to appear. But we'll see. Like I said, I haven't seen anything. If you know any more, let me know down below in the comments. The second command is a bit different. It's Jensen. It's a Druid Exile for a green and a white for a 2/2. And whenever you cast a multicolour spell, scry 1, which is nice. So it gives you a bit of scrying. If that spell was all colours, create a 4/4 Angel. with flying and vigilance. Like that plan. And then 5 mana of any colour and tap it, add Wooburg. What this basically means is if you can ramp to 5, get this in play, next turn you can tap 5, add all this, doesn't matter what colours they are, and cast your commander. So I'll still play this as the commander. It also does all sorts of other tricky stuff, which is lovely with this deck. Because if you look at this deck, I'll just leave it here for a second, I know it's not the biggest screen in the world. You've got every creature apart from Hero Precinct 1, the Tiller Engine and Solemn Simulacrum are multicoloured creatures. This really does help fix your mana for those cards really quickly. So bear that in mind when you cast Jensen. It also helps you cast some of the really big stuff. And it goes a little bit further than I thought it would do. I've been thinking about this quite a lot. It just casting multicolour and a scry and just fixing the top of your deck's fantastic. And if you can cast ones all colours, getting the 4/4 Angels, brilliant. Right, why do I like this deck so much? I mean, there's no Soul Ring in it. Yes, there's Fellwild Stone. Yes, there's Commander Sphere. There's Coalition Relic. There's a few other bits and pieces in it. You know, Kadama's Reach, Painful Truths, some of the charms, Maelstrom Nexus to give everything, Cascade, so on and so forth. Yeah, it's all here. Why do I like this deck so much? Well, firstly, I like it because it has all these legends in it. I'm just going to go through it, and some of these I've done deck text on, so I'm not going to bore you with them. But I'll try and I might link some of them down below in the video. But if you look at the amount of legends you've got Atalana, Plany, Test Tenderer. I've seen decks built around this, especially since it came out in Double Masters 2022. You've got Archelos, Lagoon Mystic from original Commander Legends. Again, I've seen decks built around this. You've got Zara, the Exemplar. This has also been reprinted before by when Commander 2020. There you go. You can build a Death Touch deck around it, or a Hydra deck. It's amazing. You've got Luna, Apex of Wishes. I've seen this being turning up into all sorts of decks recently on MTGO when we've been playing. But it's a deck you can build. It's a card you can build around for the mutate cost. It's great. Same with Nethrod. Another mutate creature. This does turn up a lot. We see it quite. I've seen it a few times on stream now. I mean, just down here. If you look down here, the promo version on MTGO is 2 tickets 24. But the original one at the moment, if you go and buy this, 0.08 tickets, but it's $2 in real life. So it's there. It's getting there, and it's getting more and more popular as a commander. You've got Surek Dragonclaw. Creatures you can, this spell can't be countered. Creature spells you control can't be countered. Other creatures you control have trample. It's amazing. Flash it in at the end of your turn, at the end of opponent's turn. They can't counter it. That means you're going to have a whole free turn next turn to do whatever you want in. Then you've got Rihanna, Angel of Rebirth. Originally it was a promo from Cool Set. I think it was a buy the box promo when it first came out from Cool Set. But again, other multicoloured creatures you get +1/+0. This fits so nicely into some of the things like Jetmir. If you want to build a Jetmir deck and you want another creature, this fits in Jetmir lovely. And it's just a nice angel. You see what I'm saying about the amount of creatures you can build commanders from? Xeris, the Writhing Storm. I play this a lot on stream. I love this deck. I haven't got one in real life. Hence why I'm buying this deck when it comes out. Because I am literally, like I say, play it once, then breaking it down to build all these commanders. They're just some of them. There is one more that I did want to pick out, which is Okachi, Vengeful Kami. You've probably all seen Mirim. It's one of my 2 favourite dragon decks. But the original dragon deck that came out, which was Commander 2019, was Dragon. This was one of the new dragons in Dragon. It's always sat around a reasonable price beforehand. So here you go, Commander 2017, not 19, apologies. $6 still at the moment. Even on MTGO it's a couple of tickets. It is, if you want to build a dragon deck and you haven't got Mirim, you haven't managed to pick up Mirim from the last set, you haven't been able to pick up the Dragon, this is a really good starting point, and it's worth pointing out this is only the second time it's been printed. The first time, Commander 2017, as we just saw, this is the second time. It's not been printed again since then. Neither's Dragon, I think. It might have been done in a couple of the special things you can order off the Wizards website, but it's worth it, and this is why I love this deck so much. Yes, it's complicated. This is not the ideal deck, this one. If you're a new player to Commander, I would not pick this up. I'll be honest with you. I think it's a lot more complicated, unless you really want to go in the deep end on Commander. I'd be a bit dubious. the land base needs a serious amount of work. There's too many comes into play. Tap lands, you'd need to sort out the mana base to make it anywhere near competitive. You'd need shock lands, you'd need sack lands, you'd need all sorts of things. You know, if you've got the original OP dual lands, they need to go in here. Anything you can pick up as a dual land will need to go in this deck, especially if it doesn't come into play tapped. At the moment, this mana base is rocky, I have to say that. It's hurt by the fact, yes, it's a multicoloured deck, and I understand that, and this is the first commander deck that I've seen for quite a while that doesn't have a Soul Ring in it. Obviously, if I'm wrong on that, and there's been another deck recently that hasn't had Soul Ring in it, let me know. But, you know, you've got Farewell Stone, you've got Commander Sphere, and you've got Coalition Relic. How are you going to ramp stuff out quicker? Which surprised me. I mean, you have got Search for Tomorrow, you have got some other things like Kadoma's Reach and Cultivator in here, but you haven't got that many basic lands to go and get. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you've got like 14 ways of searching out basic lands, and you've only got 11 ways. If you've only got 11 targets for those quick spells, you know, Fast Seek, Explore, so on and so forth. Path to the World Tree. Cultivate, Kadoma's Reach, Search for Tomorrow, Migration Path. I don't think they've put. Yeah, it's going to take you a little bit of work to sort this out. I would recommend you do it. It is probably, you know, if you can sort the mana base out, it's a pretty damn good deck. But from my point of view, if you want to build a lot of decks and you've got a fairly big selection of commander stuff, this is the one you need to hit. Get Painbow, get it built, use the cards. You know, play it a couple of times. If you like it, keep it. That's fine. Completely understand that. But me personally, I'll probably play a couple of games with it and then it'll get broken down. So that's my little breakdown. New commander player. Oops. Go get this one. Commander player who wants to build some new decks and hasn't got them already, get this one. Would be my advice. I may end up buying both at some stage, but at the moment I've only got Painbow on order, and that's what I'm going with to start with. So yeah, that's it. So that's it for me for this little video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I suspect it's a bit rambly for some of you, but any comments, let me know down below. One of the things I will be doing is setting up a spell table night. Working with the people who follow me on my Twitch stream to work out when we're going to do this. It'll be one evening. Probably sometime mid-September, so keep an eye out for that. That'll be on my Twitter, Rekmar Gaming. Go and look me up on Twitter. Hit the subscribe button here, leave me a comment. If you come and follow me on Twitch as well, when I'm online and I'm streaming and you say, look, I'm a new follower, I'm here, I give you access to our Discord group as well, where we spend a lot of time talking about Commander, and I keep everyone updated on what's happening with the stream and the YouTube channel. So do that, come and give us a follow, but meantime, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button here, help me with the algorithm, get my videos viewed a bit more, and I'll see you all when I do the next one. Cheers and bye.